everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us again here at Hedge Witch HQ. Ruby, Aisha and Cindy, Coffee with Crones.
Cheers.
So we're gathering today. We haven't seen each other for quite some time and we've all had really busy schedules. And I do find actually every year I find that the run up to summer solstice time seems to start doing this.
Yeah.
But let's just catch up and see what you've been up to. So yeah, what have you been up to since
the last time? So I've been painting for an exhibition that's coming up in August called The Witch's Revival, and it's all about wise women.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. So I've been painting what would be my imaginary grandmothers, because I don't know my biological grandmothers. And that's taken me on a right old journey. So that's been really good. I've been enjoying that. Really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of your posts with your little sneaky peeks of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, move the camera, I want to see more, move the camera. And you just like tease us through them.
Because I want to keep it so people that come to the exhibition get to see it properly for the first time.
So that is the Witch's Revival. It is run by Callie White. And she actually popped into the shop the other day and came in to see me because Ruby and I both involved in the whole weekend. The 9th to the 11th of August. It's a whole weekend about the wise woman calling us home. So it takes you on a journey with the closing ceremony. Sounds amazing.
Yes, it really does.
So I'm not going to tell any bits because obviously Callie's organising it that, but if you are in Lancaster in August, do pop along to the Witch's Revival.
You need a ticket though.
You need a ticket, so pop online. And Ruby and I will both be in the Emporium selling our goods.
Yep.
And you will be part of the main exhibition as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh, and last Saturday I had 2 Coffee with Crone subscribers come and visit me in the shop. So Julia and David popped in, and it was just lovely to catch up with people and say hello. But if you are coming and you're coming to Lancaster to come and see us, just drop us a message, email us, whatever, and then I can get all the girls together possibly, and we can all meet you for a coffee or do something. So just let us know if you're coming in to. Because I know Julia said she wanted to go off to find you, and I said, well, you don't have a shop, so it was a bit difficult. So
yeah, that's a really good point, isn't it? Yeah.
So Witch's Revival.
Yeah.
Go and look it up, see if it tickles your fancy, and come and join us there. Come and meet the Crones.
Yeah.
I wish I was going, but I'm going to another festival that weekend. I was so gutted when I found out that they clashed, but yes, I'm doing a pottery workshop at another festival, so I'm quite excited about that. So
Sounds lovely.
Talking about festivals, you were at a festival the whole weekend.
yes, I was at a belly dance festival at Borwick Castle, so that's just out there north of Lancaster, where it's called Borwick Old Hall, so it dates back to the 1600s, the main building. So it's just a beautiful historic building, but there for a total weekend of belly dance immersion.
Wow.
Women from all over the country, and Kay, my friend and long-time belly dance teacher, she organises the whole weekend, and she gets star teachers from Cairo. So we had Yasmina of Cairo there this time, and another lovely lady called Tevet, who was another star teacher as well, and it was just amazing. So it's catching up with old friends, and I always go there as a helper, so I do the DJ duties. Make sure the music starts and stops at the right time. But yeah, I love it.
I don't think I could handle the stress of that. I'd be too stressed out.
It's pretty stressful because it's all on an Apple iPod, and I'm like...
do you do belly dancing as well then?
Yeah,
That's
I do.
Amazing.
So yes, so I get involved in workshops and things like that. So I always come away really inspired, and I just love it. So
good. Oh, I'm going to sneeze.
Oh,
1, 2, 3.
Hold your breath.
Oh, it's gone. It'll come back in a minute.
It was you least expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds brilliant. So apart from people popping in the shop, Cindy, have you been doing anything different or getting ready for solstice?
Getting ready for solstice. Just really, really creative. Just really feeling creative. I created a whole lot of crones, images on crones and that, and I'd really like to print some of them and make cards and things like that. I just had such fun. I got absolutely absorbed in that. I must say, I do find this energy. I'm not a summer person, energetically wise. I'm a more autumny, wintered person. So I do find this energy quite frenetic, and I find I get busier and busier until I go, I have to stop. So I've planned to go away just before summer solstice.
Oh, that's nice.
And I'm going to the sun. I'm going to the sun because I don't think you're going to get it here. It's the middle of June and it's icy cold outside.
It's been rubbish.
It's icy cold outside.
No.
I'm loving the light. I love that the
light's
light's back,
amazing.
but it's been freezing cold. We are British. We do talk about the weather a lot. But yeah. So other than work, and I love my work, so I'm doing what I love. Yeah, just gardening. This whole place is surrounded by hedges, so it's hedges, edges, mowing, hedges, edges, mowing every week. But I love seeing all the things growing. And
It's good, isn't it?
it's really great, and yeah, just being really inspired to create things. There is another little project that I'm busy with that's been keeping me busy. That's under wraps at the moment till it happens, and I am planning a couple of retreats end of this year and next year. So that's what I'm busy with, really,
Awesome.
and writing a thesis.
As you do.
So yeah, that's what's keeping me busy.
Yeah.
But we've been posting about what witches wear and just
Yeah.
sharing a little bit about our wardrobes, and dare I say fashion sense. Really. I keep forgetting that I've got stuff on my face. Literally this morning I was putting my makeup on and I kept looking and thinking, it looks bland, something's missing. Every time I looked, add a bit more blush, looks bland. So then I start tinkering, playing around. And then I forget that it's there until I see someone going, and then, oh yes. So yeah, so what witches wear? This is what we...
Yeah, because somebody asked, didn't they? They asked
Yeah.
in the comments, what do you wear? And it's like, well, we're not typical, are we?
We're not typical, no.
Stereotypical, which you are a little bit more because you're a lot of black. You like a lot of black.
Yes.
Yeah. The most amazing goth came into the shop yesterday.
Yeah.
She was just like just the eyeliner and the hair and the piercings and everything and just black. I thought, can I take a picture? Because that was like, you would think witch,
Yeah.
but actually she's goth. She's goth.
Yeah.
So stereotypes. If anyone talks about a witch, you think black,
Yes.
you think hat,
Yeah.
you
Big
think
crooked nose.
Yes.
besom,
Warts.
Yeah.
warts,
Cauldron.
cauldron,
Turning people into
Wand.
newts.
Did we say black cats already?
black cats.
No, yeah, black cats.
So those were all the things that really make a typical or a TV witch. Let's
Yeah,
call it a
Can't
yeah,
TV. That was
yeah,
trying to
It's,
think of
yeah.
the
it's
phrase, yeah.
like the commercial,
Yeah.
commercialised,
Like a
popular
Halloween
view,
witch.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah. A movie witch.
And we had a chat a little while ago about the hat And
yeah.
your
Yeah.
perception and my perception were completely different.
Yeah.
So I do wear a witch's hat. I always wear a little crooked bent point because I am a little bit crooked and bent. So I think that depicts my character. So I always wear, and when I make my hats, I always put some wire in them so that people can bend them if they want. So let's just start with what your perception is, and then I'll tell them mine.
So mine's really different because in the beginning I didn't know any of this, but when I make my zines, I learn about folklore, and I started learning about where the witch's hat originated from. So there's two threads, and neither might be true, or they both might be, or you know. Mm-hmm. So the first thread was that it was Jewish people, Jewish men, used to wear a pointy hat called I can't remember. It's something like a yudka or something. I can't remember. And that was just the normal kind of thing that they wore. But then after a while, it was used as a thing to condemn them. So like it was a thing to make them stand out like a ridicule thing, you know, like it was a bad thing. So there was that part, but then the other part was at the same time as the witches' trials coming up and stuff, the Quakers and the religious section, they all started wearing hats, and then if somebody was going to go to trial, if they were, you know, deemed a witch, they would make them wear a black pointy hat to make them stand out that they were bad compared to the good religious people. So I've always been a bit like, since learning all this kind of stuff, I've always been a bit like, I'm not taking part in that. I don't want any part of it, especially around Halloween, where people, this really annoys me, and I won't rant, but people just go, oh, I'm going to be a witch, and they start putting on these pointy hats, and they think it's quite clever that they're, oh, look at me dressing as a witch, but really I'm not a witch. But there's no other kind of thing that I can think about where somebody would all of a sudden go, oh, it's Christian Day today, or it's Catholic Day, let's all dress as a Catholic, let's all dress as a Christian. Oh, they have to wear these tatty things from Asda. Do you know what I mean? It really annoys me that it's like commercialised that it's almost like I'm putting this costume on to pretend I'm this thing. I'll stop going on now because I could go on for ages.
So you view the hat as a negative connotation.
Yeah.
And that wearing it makes you stand out in a negative way.
Yeah, and feeding back into people in power or whatever made people wear it because they were like lesser, or they were bad, or whatever.
The whole anti-Semitism and the witch trials happened at the same time, and I think the two things got crossed.
Yeah.
However, my understanding, you might have a completely different one, so we'll go over there. But various really ancient religious sects, as far back as Mesopotamia, they wore these hats so it's to do with, obviously the triangle is a symbol of power, and in circles we talk about raising the cone of power, and the pointed hat symbolizes that. It symbolizes the connection. So it's to do with the pineal gland as well, which governs obviously your third eye and your crown chakra. And again, this is just my perception and what I've understood from it, and teachings I've received, is that you are then putting the hat on to embrace the power of that, and to show or highlight a connection with that divine essence, the sacred self, the higher self, divinity. So it's a symbol of like spirituality, and that the peasants or the pagani of the time, and we're talking probably like 1400s, they wore probably black because of limited colours that they could dye things and that, but wide-brimmed pointed hats. They worked in the fields and that, so it was just their regular
Protection
uniform.
from the sun, do you think?
And I think that from that came all the problems. That most of the women who were probably brewing ale and doing all sorts of work in the fields and that had the knowledge and wisdom, they were then persecuted, and because they wore those hats. Maybe that's where things got lost in translation. But my whole understanding was that the basis of, and me wearing a witch's hat symbolizes that I am respecting and highlighting, and it's like a symbol of honor to put on the pointed hat to show that I am focusing on or aware of something higher than myself.
That's interesting, isn't it?
So that's how I perceive it. I know that in France and in Germany, and I can't remember the date, they discovered these gold-plated hats. And they were super tall and super conical, but they were gold-plated. So 2 in Germany, 1 in France. And on them were all the symbols like astrological stuff and suns and moons and really detailed engravings of that. So it was always the really learned people. It was your sorcerers and your wise people, and probably most of the time it was men wearing these. Now we've had a reader in who's got a very interesting something to put in the pot, but I think I'll go to you first and see what your take on the pointed hat has always been.
Well, for me, I guess it was a headwear that was used at the time that all of these, so like you say, the people who would have been persecuted would have been the ones wearing these things, and it became synonymous with it. So for what you mentioned about the brew wives, because the women used to brew the beer, so that's kind of linked in with the cauldron as well. So the pointed hat and the cauldron and brewing the beer, and there were the brew wives. So I think that was a thing around the time, but they wore the pointed hats, and I think I'd read something a while ago linking the history of the pointed hat with that. So there were people who were in service, and so they were easily distinguishable. You knew you could go to that old wench and get some ale. Definitely. But I suppose like pointed hats have been used throughout time for, like you say, the most learned people, because we think of, say, like the hierarchy in the church, like the bishops have the tallest hats sort of thing, but also, the Pope doesn't actually.
Think about, what period was it? I'm terrible with my things, but those conical hats the ladies used to wear, your gentry and your royalty and that used to wear the very like conical hat
with the veil,
with the veil thing. They all
people.
wore it, and it was a symbol of being better than. And that I'm not sure I agree with. Nobody's better than anyone.
It's super interesting though, isn't it, how we've all got the different things. And when you talk, this is off on a tangent, but when you mention the brew wife, I was reading this book, it's a folklore kitchen witch book by Sarah Robinson, I think. And you know, like we've got fishwives.
Oh, kitchen witch, I saw you reading it.
Yeah. You know, we've got fishwives. I didn't know that there was herb wives, bread wives. There was all these different wives, but really now to be a fishwife's like a slur, isn't it? But there was all that, and I was like, whoa, it was well cool.
So I guess within any community you would have these specialisms, like somebody will be really good at making the bread and somebody would be really good at brewing the ale and things, and you just get your little specialisms within a community. So I love thinking about things like that.
It's ace, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is the comment. This is not our comment, this is someone else's comment. Martina has popped on and commented on a post I did earlier this week. And so she's thanked us for the post and enjoyed it. And said, I just have to throw this out there. Is it possible that the bad witch stereotype with a pointed hat, green skin and warts, is it possible that these were unfriendly aliens? So just let that sink in. They're cone-shaped with green skin and pointed hats to cover their cone-shaped heads, and that they used flying brooms. Okay. And that they really had nothing to do with a wise woman, but were used by the establishment to build a false, scary narrative around them. So when I first read that, I was like, whoa, that's a hell of a thought. What are your thoughts?
Interesting.
What are your thoughts? Write us in the comments.
Yeah.
What do you?
So I do what like nothing would surprise me anymore, ever. So it could actually be a real thing, because you know, like when they found the crystal skulls with the funny shaped heads, didn't they, and stuff. And at first you go, whoa, that's a bit out there, but when you think about it, it could actually be true.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
It's possible.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about.
No.
But yeah, not to kind of rain on this, but for me, it still kind of hits home, and still quite moves me. But there's something that it does around on Facebook. I think that's where I've seen it, where it was about the Disney-fied kind of version of the hag, with like the toothless hag with the, you know, like the straggly hair and the green and like skin. So it's about when these women were taken and accused of being a witch, but then taken away and tortured. So think about it, when you get a bruise, the awful colours your skin goes, and that could explain, and you know, possibly having teeth knocked out. But people wouldn't have known that that's what's going on in the background at the time, that these women were being tortured, and the men as well. But predominantly women, the being accused, they were being taken away for torture, and that's the next time that anybody would see them, is when they come out. And you know, it must have been frightening to see, and it added to the scariness of it, that these women will have gone in and then come out, and the next time you see them, they're all haggard, and like the hair's been pulled and things like that, and they're probably injured,
Hobbling,
hobbling, and so it will have added to the frightening. But then, yeah, so that for me is the bit that really hits home about the reality of what the witch trials entailed, really.
They'll have been malnourished as well, won't they? Because
Oh
they
gosh,
would have been fed, so the hair would have
while.
been falling out, the teeth could have fallen out, and they'd
They'll
be
have stayed in
skinny.
dark and things
Yeah.
like that a lot of the time, maybe.
Yeah, it's really sad, isn't it?
Well, if you've ever been into that dungeon in Lancaster Castle, it is
pitch
dark. It's not even pitch dark. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
It's
so
I
cold.
can't even imagine.
No.
Yeah. I went to a thing at Lancaster Castle where it must have been in 2012 for an anniversary of it, and there was an actor company that came, and you know, they kept the day, they made it quite light, and they did like broom flying lessons, but for health and safety reasons you couldn't fly your broom, so we're just showing you by walking it through in the yard, sort of thing. So they kept it light. But then they did there was one particularly powerful piece where down in the dungeon where old Demdike was kept, and they turned on full lights, and this lady who was playing Demdike did a bit of a monologue about what it was like to be down in the dungeon, and Demdike was one of the one of the Pendle witches who didn't make it to trial because she died in that dungeon before it went to trial. So it was just, it really brought it home. Like, she'll have been down there on her own for months with in her own filth and things like that, and not being fed properly, and it was just so damp. And she was like 80 years old, like over 80 years old, and having to deal with those conditions. It's just, it's horrific.
Last year at the Witches Revival, we all did a pilgrimage, and we went to the castle, and it was so moving. They did a reenactment, and everybody that had been accused, there was a person pretending to be them, and they had their names on a slate, and then there was somebody that was the judge, and they were saying the names and saying guilty or not guilty, and we all joined in to be the court, and we were all shouting not guilty, and we were all crying, and because it was
I know.
It really was,
Yeah.
and because there was like silence everywhere, because anybody that was walking in the castle, visitors, they were just stopping and watching. When we were all shouting, it was all reverberating, off the building.
Wow.
And it felt so powerful, but it was so emotional, calling out all these people. And then we marched from the castle, and we took the route where they'd have been taken up to the, Williamson's Park to be hung, and it was so moving to do that journey. So yeah, and when you described that about how they came out, and then that's the kind of things that are shown in films, it's actually quite sick, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I did that walk from Pendle to Lancaster. Killing. It's a hard walk.
Yeah, I bet.
A hard walk, and in those days the terrain would have been even worse.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. It was really
comfort
hard.
or cover.
It was really hard.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely. I mean, I know we've kind of
Digressed
a little, but
but it's important, I think, to go there. So from what you're saying is the greenness of the skin that's portrayed in famously The Wizard of Oz, that sort of hag. Yeah. Related to perhaps the torture.
Yes.
The other thing that they say the hooked nose is related to is, again, the anti-Semitism. So it's all these things. It's really interesting when you start unpicking it. And like I say, it's all perception, and I think a lot of information has got crossed wires.
Definitely, yeah.
And things have melded with each other. So it's difficult to know, but for me, that's what it means. It means that connection with the spiritual realm, with the spirit self, or the sacred self, which is why I like to wear my hat. So I will wear a hat whether it's Halloween or not. And I've got a few. You've got a few too.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you are a witch. So my problem is with people that are not.
Yes.
And then for Halloween, they're like, let's just dress up. Let's play. Do you know, like it's you're dressing up as I don't know, a character. That's what really annoys me. Yeah, but it is so interesting, isn't it, how it all crosses over. And don't forget as well with history, his story, it was all written by men. And it was all...
Well, they were the only ones that could write in those days.
And it was all written...
It was very rare for a woman to write.
Definitely, and it was all written in a... what do you call it? Like, it's all... So we could all see the same thing happen, but we'd all have a different perspective, So it was all in different perspectives. I'm actually reading a book. It's really hard going. It's taken me ages because it's really thick, and it's I think it's called The Cosmic Mother, and it's her story. So instead of history, it's her story. Oh my God, it's fascinating, but also it really annoys me. I'm like, oh my God, this happened. That's really, really interesting. Yeah. So thinking about the hat, what else is there then that's stereotypical? What about capes?
The besom as well.
Oh yeah, go on then, let's have a chat about that.
So to me, the besom, so I use a besom mainly in my practice for cleaning, for cleansing. So to me it represents the balance of the female and the male energy, the male being the rod, the female being the brush. And traditionally it was birch was the brush, was it ash that was the rod, no, hazel was the rod, and willow bound the two, the three sort of sacred trees, and those three trees make the Celtic tree of life, I believe. I might be wrong. So it's like the tree of life in one tool. So by binding them together, it's the union of the male and the female energies and the balancing of it. So I use that as one of my tools. I've got one outside the front door if you've ever come through the front door, and mainly for cleansing. So if I want to be outdoors and make a circle, I might just sweep the area first. I believe always that anti-clockwise is removing. So if you're wanting, say for instance in this room, if I'm wanting, or around my house, the property, I'm wanting to remove negativity, I would go anti-clockwise. And if I'm wanting to bring something to the house, I'd go clockwise. The same sort of principles as when we were talking about stirring into our food and that. So yeah, and there's so much folklore about besoms. So much folklore. What's interesting, the difference between a broom and a besom. A broom is rectangular, yeah. A besom is round. It's a circle.
Okay.
And you don't often think about that. It's a round rod, and then the bristles are around that rod, whereas a broom is rectangle with the rod inside the rectangle. Just something to consider. Yeah. So I use it in that way. I use it if I'm doing outdoor circles, particularly. I will place my besom across the entrance of the circle as a protective measure. I don't have one at the moment, but you can place it above your doorway for protection. And then of course as a celebrant, if I'm marrying a couple or hand fasting a couple, I'll always make them a besom to represent their union with colours that they've chosen and things like that. But I also weave things into it, like I made one for my brother and sister-in-law, and that was earlier this year, so our family tartan was woven into it. And because it's the year of a dragon, there was a dragon, there were little charms to symbolise both of them, to symbolise their love and blossoming. And so yeah, I like to weave things in. And then obviously there's the jumping over the besom. And jumping over the besom you can do at all the esbats and sabbats, to step away from the old and embrace the new. And at a hand fasting, it's lovely for the bride and groom to take hands, showing that they together, and that they jumping over the broom, starting a new home together. And the broom is seen as the cleansing part.
That's lovely. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So there's so much more. There's so much more. I could talk. But do you have a besom?
I don't actually. I'm on the lookout for one, but yeah, I haven't had one yet. I've got obviously the Halloween like little tiny brooms because they're really cute, but yeah, I don't have a proper one. And but that I was going to say well, yeah, I suppose you don't hear it so much nowadays, but when I was a kid you used to hear like all the living over the broom, so when people were unmarried, you know, and that's why it kind of goes back to that tradition of jumping over the broom as part of the hand fasting, or so I find it interesting.
If you're storing your broom, your besom, you should store it upright, with bristles up. That's for good luck. If a besom falls over in a house, thunderstorm or company's coming, There's loads of folklore on it, loads. What we could maybe do is put a comment up with all the folklore.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
So am I right in thinking the upturned broom also has the link with the rune
algies, which is protective,
yeah, because it looks like the upturned broom, doesn't it, as well?
Algies, how I was taught, represents the axe, the Vikings' axe, the Norseman's axe, which was his method of protection. It was his critical tool. It was his everything. He chopped his wood with his axe. He killed his food with his axe. He protected his family with his axe. You know, so it was his everything.
Interesting.
So yeah.
So do you have a besom?
No. No, I don't.
Do you like a besom?
I think I would. Yeah, I've thought about it before, but I don't just want to buy one.
No.
I think that it'd be special if you
Make
made
it.
your
Yeah,
own.
Paul makes all of ours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
he
be
hand
nice,
makes it. Nowadays it's, well, if you can go and get a lot of birch, if you know someone who's got birch trees on their property, because you can't go and cut, it's great. But a lot of people make it from the broom plant, you know, the bristles. We tend to use hazel and birch because they're the traditional ones, but we use wire to bind because willow sometimes comes loose. So yeah, but that was the traditional way of doing it apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, mainly as a cleansing thing, and people buy different size brooms, big besoms, and then little besoms now to clean their altars.
Yeah.
It's really
Seen
cute.
them,
Yeah.
they're cute.
Yeah.
And would you sweep the house with yours, or would it just be kept for
Mine's more like a
sacred
tool.
things?
Yeah, mine's
Right.
more a ritual tool. So special occasions I would use it. But Paul laughs at me because we've got 100 hoovers in the house, and I'll always pick up a broom. I love a broom. I like to sweep. I find it really meditative. I find you can really put intention into it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love to
calming,
sweep.
isn't it?
I love to sweep.
So what about things like stripy tights? They're another one that always comes up, don't they? Stripy tights.
I've got red and black, and I've got green and purple and black.
Yes, I've got purple and black, I think, and probably a few other colours.
I had white and black and purple and black, but I can't get on with tights. They make I don't know if it's because I'm short, but they always feel like there's not enough room. So I'm always pulling them up.
There's never enough room.
No,
you can buy an extra large in the
They're
store.
terrible. It's really bad, isn't
I have
it?
the same way, you still have to pull it up
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
so
never tall
bad.
enough.
It's really bad.
I don't know where the stripes came in.
I just seem to think it goes back to Wizard of Oz when
Maybe.
you see the legs of the bad witch, the wicked witch of the West, and she's under the house, and you just see the shoes. But I'm sure I could be wrong. I might be imagining it, but it could be the stripy socks when they take the ruby slippers off.
Yeah, and then they all curl
And then
up,
they go,
don't they? Yeah.
If you know why
Yeah, please do. So.
witches often wear stripy tights, let us know.
That's
Yeah.
really one.
Yeah, what else is there?
Capes or cloaks.
Cloaks, yeah.
That's interesting.
I think it was just sort of, well, I think it was a garment that you wore in those days. Everyone
Yeah.
wore one.
Yeah, because they didn't have coats, did they, like we know them nowadays?
Well, I think the gentry and that would have had the tailored coat, but tailoring took a lot of work and precision.
Yeah.
And I'm just surmising now, I don't know. The tailoring would have been,
Yeah, it'd have
you
been
would have gone to someone and had your clothing tailored.
Yeah.
It was a skill that general folk couldn't afford, and certainly your woman living in the woods or your brew lady wouldn't have afforded tailoring, so it would have been, they wore loose clothing, loose-fitting clothing. I think they're really practical and warm as well, because literally you wrapped your cloak around you and you were warm, and the big hood over the head, and it just, I think it's one of those things that possibly just stuck.
Yeah, I think so.
I was thinking for practical purposes, because it would be like when you have your tailored coat, it would be close to your skin, but if it got wet, then you'd get soaked through. But the cloak would kind of give a bit of an outer layer that's easily removed and kind of keeps all the wet away, maybe, and the wind out. So it's very practical. I think it's a very practical garment.
Yeah.
The first time I regressed myself, so I was taught how to do past life regressions and that by a very talented gentleman, and he taught me how to do them on myself as well. So the first time I did it, it was amazing, because boom, there I was in the woods with this black or very dark blue, I can't be sure, cloak on, and little dolly black sandals with a buckle, and I was running for my life. I had a basket. I was running for my life from something. I have various ideas of who, what and when, but because I then started to unpick and unravel, but that heavy cloak, I could almost feel it on my shoulders, like a thick felty fabric.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite grand to waft around in a cloak during winter. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
I've got a few.
Yeah, really
And
nice.
I'm in the process of making a cloak, because I've got
Yours
some
is that
velvet.
green.
Yeah, I've got this lovely green velvet that I've got a pattern. It's taken me a while to find a nice pattern, because I wanted a big hood, but with a long pointy, it's going to have a tassel on the end, and yes, it's got to be big enough to come round, and a bit like the Scottish widow one, which takes that off and it like sits on her shoulders. I love that. So, and then just finding the right kind of clasp. So it's taken a bit of time to gather all these bits and bobs, but
Talking of making things.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm cutting you short because I don't want to forget.
Oh, go on.
I've got a present for you.
Oh. Oh, is it snail shells?
Oh. After we talked about it last time, sorry. Not wanting to forget about them.
Lovely.
Oh, I've been finding them in the garden, so
so they're similar sizes, and I thought, well, you can try and put a.
Oh, look,
put
them
a
little ones would be earrings, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They could be little
Who said?
earrings, yeah.
So,
Oh, thanks, Cindy.
oh, it'd be good if you did like a little ear cuff with a snail on it, so it looked like
my
a snail
God,
was going up
yeah.
your ear.
It really would.
I was cleaning up in the garden. I came across all these.
That's amazing.
I've got those chimney pots outside the front door, and for some reason, all of those were inside the chimney pot.
That's
so
funny, isn't it?
died and
mine was in
I was like, I'm saving these for Ruby.
No, that's amazing. And thank you as well in the comments. People gave lots of comments about how to preserve them and stuff.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll be
Because they're
trying
so
that.
delicate.
Yeah, they are really delicate.
Well, I thought you just need to get a hole in, and then the earring clasp, and then just varnish them.
Yeah, I thought about varnishing. A few
But
people
I wonder
said
if
resin.
you put something inside as well, like a squirty resin to make them hard on the inside that they don't crush.
I think that's a good idea. Because it would be easy, wouldn't it, to break them if you had them on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're lovely.
Little project.
Thank you. You can go and mail them.
Yes. And those are for Ruby.
Amazing. I love that shell. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's really pretty.
It was a birthday present from the most special friend in South Africa.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. This is my Ursula Sea Witch piece.
So that's an interesting question. Which witch are you if you was gonna be in? If you're gonna categorize, no, we don't like it. But if you was gonna categorize yourself into a type of witch, what witch would you be?
I'm definitely.
Don't tip off that chair.
I need that for the time.
Do you want me to give it a...
Sorry. We're just watching the time.
So are we talking kitchen witch, green witch?
Yeah,
all
what
that
kind of
thing?
witch would you be?
I'm such a blend.
Yeah.
Are you a multi-passionate witch?
Because I'm definitely like ocean, sea, Piscean. I love that. And then there's green hedge, kitchen. Green hedge, kitchen, sea. But I also, if I think of myself more of like a geomancer. It's magic of the earth. So it's difficult to put
It's
myself in
tricky.
a thing.
Yeah.
What would you say you are?
Well, definitely a green kitchen, yeah. But I quite like, when I learnt recently about the Essia coming from the east, and there's the Vanier of the forest, and I was like, ooh, they sound like my people. So yeah, like woodland, green, yeah.
Yeah. You see, I've got a lot of ancestry that is Norse. And when I came onto the path, when I first stepped onto the path and into the journey, I was a Usatru, so it's the old Norse tradition, the old northern way. But I learnt the runes and everything. That's, I think, a lot of my essence is quite wild and Viking shamanic like. So that does come through in when I'm working and that. But yeah, it's difficult to limit yourself.
Tricky,
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, and I think I'm more of a hearth witch, so everything in the home.
Yes.
Also kitchen a bit, earth, herb. Yeah, definitely not air or sky. I'm really like rooted in. What star sign are you?
Leo.
Leo, okay. And is that
Fire,
rubbish?
yeah.
Fire. So we've got fire, earth, water.
We need an
We
air.
need an air, so we can raise people up and stuff like in the craft. Will you be the fourth?
You see, that's interesting because I am Piscean, but I see myself as, for want of a better word, like a bit of an airbender. I'm an ideas person.
I can see you as an airbender. Definitely.
When I go to my Ayurvedic doctor, he says, you're full of air, and it's not farts. I am full of air. I've got air running through me. And when I've worked with the elements, air is my thing.
Is it?
I
feel
that
you're more air.
It's difficult to explain, but when I work and I start working with energy, immediately there's this, it's like pushing and pulling and moving and it feels very air-like. So it's not so much water. But I am ideas.
Are you very much fire sign?
We talk about it recently I love a good fire, but I've always felt
like to make a
fire. I do enjoy that. And like getting the fire to really like raise back up again and starting fires. I'm always very happy when nobody else is like, fire. But it's taken me a while to kind of, because I never really resonated that much with the Leo. So, but then finding out about my rising sign and my moon sign, those three together, makes sense. And then I feel like I am embracing my fire side a little bit more. So. But I never wear like fire colours because that's just too out there for me. So I tend to wear like blues and greens if I'm going to wear any other colour, or purple maybe. But
I wonder if you'd feel really different though if you put some fire colours on. Like if you put a red dress on to go and perform. I wonder if you'd step into this different woman. Like that'd be incredible to try.
Yes, alter ego.
It would be,
Dad, what would you call yourself? Ooh.
I was thinking like Beyonce, like Sasha Fierce.
You'd have to do all that though, wouldn't you?
I'm here. She's just like Foxy Cleopatra, and she's like,
I'm
gonna shake it there.
That's amazing. I love it. Yeah, I'm definitely earthy.
Yeah.
So you an earth sign?
Yeah, Taurus
Yeah.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Very stubborn. It's true. Yeah. So going back to the stereotypical thing, have we missed anything out, do you think?
We've missed loads
Well,
out.
we've only
Wands.
touched on the cauldron. Wands,
Cauldron. That's another whole topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another whole topic. I've got lots of
I love
little
cauldrons.
ones and bigger ones, and the one I use most is very rusty at the moment. I need to clean it out. Is a poiki from South Africa, and poiki means little pot.
Yeah.
And it's the proper three-legged pot. We cook we cook most of our meals in cast iron pots on fire, and we can because it's good outdoors there. So yeah, I've got it's about that big, little poiki, and my dad's poiki was that big, not so little. So yeah, he'd make food for like teams of people in there, and yeah, it's just really interesting. So I've always had a cauldron, always, but we would actually prepare food in it. Now I've got a water cauldron for water magic. I've got my cleansing cauldron for burning things in, and then I've got a little copper cauldron, cute, from Germany, little fat feet. It's like a little squashed fat belly. It's like not a roundy cauldron, it's more like a squashy cauldron. And that I use for like manifesting, because it's copper and it's that warm, abundant colour. So I've got different ones for different things.
I've just got one that I cook in. Yeah, and I feel like it's magic. You know, when I'm making the food in it, I'm like putting some magic in there, some love in there. It's going to taste amazing, and it does actually make a difference. Whatever I cook in, it's like delicious.
My wooden spoon, I've got pyrographied into it. Stir it well, let the magic swell, and it's in a spiral. And I stir with that.
Cauldron.
I was going to go back to cauldron.
You bought one in Glastonbury.
Yes, I did, to actually cook on, because when I was searching for one for ages, all I could find was what I thought were
Beetledorf. I'm just going to chat to a woman about a thing. Comes back.
Got the cauldron. So yeah, I was like, but yeah, I've looked for one for a while, and I'd only ever seen it written down, but it was the potjie, so it's poiki.
Yeah,
that's how it's
Potjie, but it's ki, like as if you were saying, yeah, it's the diminutive in Afrikaans, poiki.
It's interesting that I've only ever seen it written down. Then when you were like, oh yeah, and I was like, I know that's how you say it.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
but I have quite a selection. For looking for one for ages, I've got a selection now. So I've bought 3 that could have been like sandblasted down and used for cooking, but I don't know what I'm going to use them for now, because I've got my cooking one, my 8-litre one, which is just everything I wanted in a cauldron. It's got a nice belly, it's got legs, it's got a lid and a handle as well, so I've got a tripod for over my fire pit, so I can like do cooking. I'm so excited. And then I've also got a cauldron that I'm going to use with my raku kiln. So because it was from a chap that I go to every year at a pottery festival, and he does the raku, and he had a cauldron. I was like, where did you get your cauldron from? And he said, oh, I just got it from a car boot. I was like, wow. I love that. And he was, and then a few years later I saw him, I was like, you've still got the cauldron? I haven't found one yet. He went, I'll sell it to you. Oh. So I've got this cauldron, and because it's been used for raku firings, it's had the sawdust in it, so it smells of wood, fire, and it's just...
So are you going to actually do raku?
I'm going to do raku.
Amazing.
But yeah, I'm going to have my cauldron, and raku for me is quite magic. The way it's just so fast, and so I've got me cauldron for the raku. Pot. So I'm very excited about that.
So you're going to put the shavings and everything inside the pot?
Yeah. So when it comes out,
I love using seaweed and organic stuff.
Yes, there's all sorts of things you can put in.
Makes all the patterns, doesn't it, on it? Yeah.
And flares and
There's all
It's
sorts of
amazing.
different things you can do, so it's really exciting. So I can't wait till I get my raccoon kiln. So
That's amazing.
It's sort of time to wrap up.
Is it?
Sorry,
That's
yeah.
gone really
Oh,
fast,
yeah.
isn't it?
we haven't talked about black cats.
No.
We
I
haven't
know, there's so
talked
much.
about
Wands,
Um,
pointy shoes.
pointy
Yeah.
What's that about?
Oh, I couldn't wear them. I've got wide feet.
Did you see that? Did you see those boots I found in the charity shop?
Yeah.
They're amazing.
10 quid.
I know.
Italian leather boots.
Amazing.
But yeah, pointy shoes are not the friend of feet.
No.
Not my feet anyway.
No.
So if we've missed out any stereotypes, let us know what other stereotypes we could talk about.
Yeah.
And
And let us know what you think about stereotypes as well. And as always, these are just our opinions. These are just our
yeah,
thoughts and what
absolutely.
we, our experiences have been. So it's not like we're telling you that that's what it is.
Yeah. And what we're saying is, don't be the stereotype, just be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't need all the tools. Absolutely not. It's nice to have them. And I love my little sacred pieces that I've collected and made. I've made most of my own stuff. You don't need them. If you need a wand, that's just as good. You know what I mean? That's my magic finger, that one. But yeah, it's... talking about magic fingers, I want a tattoo. I haven't had a tattoo yet.
Have you not got any tattoos?
I have no tattoos.
Have you not?
No.
Virgin skin. I want the Elder Futhach, and I want it to start at my shoulder or maybe at the base of my spine, thinking about it. Wrap all the way around the arm and end on that fingertip with Gifu. But I've got to find the right artist
So
because I want it to be really something.
really beautiful. So just to let you know, any tattoos that you have on the inside of your hands wear off really quick because you're always using.
Yeah.
So you'd have to keep having it done. Tattoos are amazing. Oh my god, they
I
feel
can
so
never
good.
decide what I want for long enough.
I've got 2 tattoo ideas. That's one of them.
I love them. I've got 3. I've got one on here, and then I can't even get my sleeve up. One here that was a cover up because I had a really rubbish tramp stampy one back in the 90s. It was awful. So I've got a big mandala now, and then I've got a sun at the top of my back, which I need redoing. The lad was a trainee, and I had to give him the design, and then he lost the design, and he went, I remember it, and then he did it, and he doesn't remember it. So, but I've had it for years. And then I've got a big tattoo on my back of 2 fetish ladies loving each other, we'll say. Because this is for YouTube.
We're keeping it PG though.
Keeping it PG, loving each other nicely. Yeah. But I'd have so many. It feels amazing. I love it.
Yeah, some part of me really, really wants one, and another part of me thinks, I'm 55, and do I really need one? Because I like drawing on myself anyway, so I change my mind all the time.
I think Sharpie
I
would
do
be
it-
about my level of commitment. Like, if I decide with Sharpie, then I can change my mind. I've had henna though. Henna was really
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, I
henna's
do a lot of
lovely.
henna ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to do the henna. And
I
play.
think there's this funny thing as well about tattoos, because once you've had one, you just definitely want more.
Yeah.
Like
I have a coffee
who's
with Crones
doing it.
tattoo.
On our butts.
Right.
On
Talking about butts. Our bums are numb, our brews are through. Till the next moon. See you soon.
See you soon.